As we age, life shifts from chasing achievements to savoring moments of peace, connection, and self-care. For seniors, particularly those 65 and older, safeguarding emotional health becomes essential. A key part of this is being mindful of the people you let into your life. Not everyone enriches your golden years. Some may even drain your energy and joy. Below are 5 types of people to steer clear of in your later years, even if they're family. Protecting your peace isn't selfish. It's an act of self-respect and love. If this resonates with you, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay updated with more insights. 1. The manipulator. As we grow older, peace and emotional balance become priceless. Yet some people, masters of guilt and subtle manipulation, can quietly erode that tranquility. They don't always appear harmful at first. In fact, they often present themselves as vulnerable, in need of help or companionship. If you've spent a lifetime caring for others, they know exactly how to pull at your heartstrings. But what starts as occasional support can slowly turn into a pattern of emotional exhaustion, where your kindness is no longer appreciated but expected. Picture this. You're enjoying a peaceful afternoon, soaking in the quiet joys of life, when the phone rings. It's someone you care about, asking for yet another favor. Maybe it's a ride they could easily arrange or an errand they're fully capable of handling. At first you say yes. It seems small, but soon the pattern becomes clear. They reach out only when they need something. Worse, they imply that if you don't help, you're selfish, uncaring, or even abandoning them. This is how manipulators operate. They don't demand, they guilt. They frame their needs as urgent, making it difficult for you to say no without feeling like you've let them down. Little by little, their constant requests become chains, weighing down the freedom you've earned in this stage of life. Recognizing this cycle is essential. Manipulators count on your hesitation, knowing that you value harmony and avoid conflict. But protecting your energy isn't selfish, it's necessary. Your time, health, and emotional well-being deserve to be safeguarded. Setting boundaries is the only antidote. When someone repeatedly expects favors, a simple, "I'm sorry, I can't help this time," is enough. No long explanations, no guilt-ridden justifications. Boundaries don't need permission to be valid. They exist to protect your peace. Take a step back and ask yourself, does this person add to my life, or do they only take? Genuine relationships are built on mutual care and respect, not obligation. If someone consistently drains your energy, leaves you feeling resentful, or treats your generosity as a given, it may be time to redefine their place in your life. You've given enough. This phase of life should be about joy, about surrounding yourself with people who uplift you, not those who take advantage of your kindness. Let go of the fear of disappointing others. Your kindness is a gift, not a resource to be depleted. By choosing to protect your well-being, you ensure that your later years are filled with fulfillment, not emotional exhaustion. Saying no to a manipulator is saying yes to yourself. And that's a choice worth making every single time. 2. The self-absorbed, the narcissist. Growing older should be a time of deep reflection, rich conversations, and meaningful relationships. Yet not all relationships bring fulfillment. Some people are so absorbed in their own world that they fail to see or appreciate those around them. These individuals, whether knowingly or not, have a way of making others feel insignificant, unheard, and emotionally drained. Picture this. You sit down with a friend or family member, eager to share a cherished memory or a lesson learned over the years. But before you can finish a sentence, they cut in, redirecting the conversation back to themselves. You try again, hoping to engage in a meaningful exchange, yet every interaction becomes a stage for their self-importance. Over time, you realize that your presence in their life is not as a valued companion, but as an audience to their endless performance. They don't necessarily intend to hurt you, but their inability to listen, acknowledge, or reciprocate leaves you feeling invisible. For those in their later years, this kind of relationship is particularly disheartening. You've lived through decades of experience, love, loss, and growth. You deserve to be heard and valued. But a self-absorbed person offers little room for that. They crave attention, but rarely give it in return. They may brush aside your stories, downplay your struggles, or turn every moment into a reflection of themselves, leaving you emotionally sidelined. Recognizing these patterns is the first step in reclaiming your peace. People like this often mask their behavior with charm, humor, or feigned interest, making it easy to overlook their one-sided nature at first. But as time goes on, their lack of true empathy becomes impossible to ignore. Their presence drains you more than it fulfills you. Conversations feel like battles for attention, rather than mutual exchanges of care and understanding. The key to preserving your emotional well-being lies in setting boundaries. You don't always have to remove these individuals from your life, but you do need to limit their influence. If they interrupt you, calmly steer the conversation back. I'd like to finish my thought. If they dismiss your feelings, assert yourself. This moment is important to me. You are not obligated to shrink yourself to accommodate someone else's ego. Most importantly, remember that their behavior is not a reflection of your worth. Some people lack the capacity to truly see others, but that does not mean you are any less valuable. Choose to surround yourself with people who appreciate your presence, who listen without waiting for their turn to speak, who celebrate your wisdom rather than overshadow it. These are the relationships that will make this chapter of your life truly fulfilling. Walking away from one-sided connections is an act of self-respect. It allows you to invest your time in people who genuinely care, in moments that nourish your spirit rather than deplete it. Life is far too precious, especially now, to waste on relationships that leave you feeling unseen. You matter. Your stories matter. Your voice matters. Never let anyone make you believe otherwise. The way you value yourself sets the tone for how others treat you, and that above all is the foundation of a life well lived. 3. The critic. In the later years of life, one of the greatest privileges is the ability to live on your own terms, free from the pressure to meet anyone else's expectations. Yet some people seem determined to make you question yourself. Those who criticize, nitpick, and undermine, often under the pretense of just trying to help. Their words, no matter how subtle, can chip away at your confidence, turning moments of joy into self-doubt. Critics come in many forms. It could be a longtime friend who never fails to comment on your choices, a family member who questions how you spend your time, or even an acquaintance who seems to find fault in everything you do. At first, their remarks might seem harmless, a suggestion here, a bit of unsolicited advice there, but over time they build up, creating an invisible weight that makes you second-guess yourself. What many don't realize is that chronic critics often project their own insecurities onto others. Their harsh words say more about their fears and frustrations than they do about you. A person who constantly points out what's wrong with others is often avoiding looking inward. But understanding this doesn't always make their words sting any less. After a lifetime of lessons, resilience, and growth, no one should be made to feel as though they are falling short. The truth is, you are not defined by someone else's opinion. Their judgment is just noise. It does not hold power unless you allow it to. You have spent years building a life filled with experiences, wisdom, and personal victories that cannot be diminished by a passing remark or a disapproving glance. The best way to handle critics is to stop giving them space in your mind. Not all feedback deserves your energy. Ask yourself, does this criticism come from a place of care and respect? If not, dismiss it. Their negativity is not your responsibility. If someone repeatedly questions your choices, whether it's how you enjoy retirement or the way you live your life, respond with quiet confidence. I appreciate your perspective, but I'm content with the way things are. This sets a clear boundary without inviting further debate. Another strategy is to redirect the conversation. Critics thrive on negativity, so shift the focus to something positive. If someone insists on pointing out flaws, counter with something affirming. That's one way to see it, but I'm proud of what I've accomplished. This simple shift not only deflects their negativity, but also reinforces your own self-worth. Most importantly, surround yourself with people who appreciate and uplift you. Seek relationships that bring joy, not judgment. Spend time with friends who celebrate your achievements, engage in conversations that enrich your soul, and invest in connections that remind you of your value. These are the relationships that truly matter. Remember, no critic, no matter how loud or persistent, can dictate your happiness. Their opinions do not define your worth, your journey, or your future. You have earned the right to live with confidence, to take pride in the life you've built, and to embrace each day with joy. Let go of the need for approval. Life is far too precious to waste on the opinions of those who do not see your value. Instead, focus on the moments, the people, and the experiences that make your heart feel full. Because at the end of the day, the only opinion that truly matters is your own. 4. The irresponsible. In the later chapters of life, when the weight of endless responsibilities begins to lighten, the last thing you need is to carry burdens that aren't yours. Yet some people, whether family, friends, or acquaintances, have perfected the art of shifting their problems onto others. Their recklessness, lack of accountability, and constant need for rescue can drain your time, energy, and even your finances. If you're not careful, their chaos becomes yours, stealing the peace you've worked so hard to build. Imagine this. A relative repeatedly finds themselves in financial trouble, relationship drama, or bad decisions. And every time they turn to you, not for advice, but for a bailout, they swear this is the last time, that they just need a little help, yet the cycle continues. You help, thinking you're doing the right thing, but over time, you realize you're not supporting them. You're enabling them. Instead of learning responsibility, they've learned that you will always catch them when they fall. Irresponsibility isn't just about making mistakes. It's about refusing to deal with the consequences and expecting someone else to clean up the mess. These people rely on your generosity, knowing you have a kind heart and a deep sense of duty. They appeal to your emotions, reminding you of past obligations or the idea that family helps family. But what starts as compassion can turn into obligation, and what once felt like kindness begins to feel like manipulation. There's a crucial truth to understand. Helping someone who refuses to take responsibility for their life doesn't just hurt you, it hurts them too. When you constantly step in to fix their problems, you rob them of the chance to grow. Accountability is something people develop only when they're forced to face their own choices. If you always shield them from hardship, they will never learn resilience or responsibility. Setting boundaries with irresponsible people is not an act of cruelty. It's an act of self-respect. It's also a lesson in tough love. Start by recognizing your limits and accepting that you are not responsible for solving every problem that lands at your feet. If someone repeatedly asks for financial help, respond with a firm but kind, "I'm sorry, but I can't help with that. I hope you find a solution." No long explanations, no guilt, no room for negotiation. This not only protects your resources, but also forces them to take ownership of their situation. And here's something critical. Don't let guilt control you. People who rely on others to clean up their mess often use guilt as a tool to keep the cycle going. They might say that if you truly cared, you'd help. But caring doesn't mean sacrificing your own well-being. True care is offering guidance, emotional support, and wisdom, not becoming a crutch for someone unwilling to stand on their own. As you navigate these relationships, always remember, your peace matters. This stage of life is meant for joy, fulfillment, and personal growth, not for carrying the weight of someone else's poor choices. Surround yourself with people who respect your time, appreciate your presence, and contribute to your happiness rather than drain it. A healthy relationship is built on mutual respect, not on one-sided dependence. You've spent decades learning, sacrificing, and overcoming. Now is the time to protect what you've built. Don't let someone else's irresponsibility overshadow the peace you've earned. Setting boundaries doesn't mean turning your back on people. It means refusing to let their chaos control your life. By stepping back, you give them the chance to step up. And by reclaiming your own time, energy, and joy, you finally give yourself the life you deserve. 5. The ungrateful. As the years pass, one of life's greatest fulfillments is the ability to give, whether it's our time, wisdom, or the love we've nurtured over decades. There's a quiet joy in knowing that our sacrifices and efforts have made a difference, that our kindness has brightened someone's day, but nothing stings quite like being met with silence where gratitude should be. When the things you do out of love go unnoticed, or worse, criticized, it can leave you feeling drained, unappreciated, and questioning whether your efforts were ever valued at all. Ungrateful people have a way of robbing generosity of its joy. Picture this. You spend hours preparing a special dinner, carefully crafting every dish with love, only to be met with complaints or indifference. Or perhaps you've rearranged your plans to help a friend in need, only for them to act as if your time was theirs to take, never once pausing to acknowledge your effort. Over time, these small slights add up, turning acts of kindness into sources of resentment. But here's what's important to remember. Other people's lack of gratitude does not define your worth. Their failure to appreciate you says more about them than it does about you. True kindness isn't transactional. It comes from the heart. However, that doesn't mean you should allow yourself to be taken for granted. You deserve to be surrounded by people who see and honor the love you bring into the world. Dealing with ungrateful people requires both wisdom and strength. The first step is allowing yourself to acknowledge the hurt. It's natural to feel disappointed when someone takes your generosity for granted, and those emotions are valid. But what truly matters is how you respond. One of the most powerful things you can do is reassess your relationships. Ask yourself, does this person enrich my life, or do they only take? If someone consistently fails to appreciate your efforts, it may be time to set boundaries. That doesn't mean shutting them out completely, but it does mean being mindful of how much of your time and energy you're willing to invest. If a family member never acknowledges your efforts, consider doing less. Shift your focus to what truly brings you joy. If they question your change in behavior, you can calmly say, I've realized I need to focus on what makes me happy. This isn't about withholding love, it's about protecting your well-being. Another crucial step is to redirect your energy toward those who truly value you. Spend time with people who reciprocate kindness, who appreciate your presence, and who lift your spirit instead of depleting it. Whether it's friends, neighbors, or community members, these are the people who will remind you that generosity, when met with gratitude, can be one of life's greatest joys. It's also important to reflect on why you give in the first place. Genuine generosity isn't about seeking validation. It's about love, care, and a desire to make the world a little better. But this does not mean tolerating disrespect or allowing yourself to be exploited. Your kindness is a gift, not an obligation. It should be treated with the same respect that you extend to others. As you move forward, make a habit of celebrating your own efforts. Acknowledge the love, care, and thoughtfulness you pour into the world, regardless of whether others do. The impact of your kindness does not fade simply because someone failed to say thank you. You have touched lives in ways you may never fully see or hear about. By choosing to focus on those who genuinely appreciate you, and by setting firm boundaries with those who don't, you reclaim your joy and ensure that this chapter of your life is filled with the love, peace, and respect you deserve. At the end of the day, your happiness is in your hands. Let go of the need for recognition. Surround yourself with those who uplift you, and remember, your worth has never depended on anyone else's acknowledgement. You are enough exactly as you are. Guarding your peace, a gift only you can give yourself. As we step into the later seasons of life, our priorities evolve. We no longer chase approval or expend energy on fleeting concerns. Instead, we seek what truly matters: peace, connection, and fulfillment. Protecting your emotional well-being isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. The people you surround yourself with either uplift you or weigh you down, and recognizing who deserves a place in your life is a sign of wisdom and self-respect. Distancing yourself from toxic relationships, whether they are filled with manipulation, selfishness, negativity, or ingratitude, is not selfishness, it's self-preservation. Setting boundaries is not about shutting people out. It's about making space for joy, for relationships built on mutual respect and kindness. You've spent a lifetime giving your time, your energy, your love. Now it's time to extend that same care to yourself. Think about the journey that brought you here, the battles you fought, the sacrifices you've made, and the wisdom you've gained along the way. These experiences have shaped you into the person you are today. Don't let the negativity of others diminish the beauty of your story. You are not responsible for carrying burdens that aren't yours, nor for fixing those who refuse to grow. Instead, choose to surround yourself with people who celebrate you, who respect your boundaries, and who bring light into your life. Your golden years are not meant for unnecessary struggles. They are a time to embrace what brings you joy, whether it's the love of family, the company of true friends, or the quiet moments that bring you peace. Release the weight of relationships that drain you. Let go of obligations that only bring exhaustion. Invest your time and heart into what enriches your soul. Life is too short to be spent with those who take more than they give. Always remember your happiness is in your hands and your peace is your legacy. By being intentional about who you allow into your life, you create a sanctuary of love, warmth, and fulfillment. A place where you can thrive, truly be yourself, and savor the moments that matter most. These are not just words. They are a call to live life on your own terms. Take a moment to reflect on what you've learned and how you plan to protect your peace moving forward. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If this message resonates with you, share your reflections in the comments. And if you found value in this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiration on living fully and authentically. Thank you for being here. Here's to choosing joy, protecting your peace, and living life with purpose.